I'm the Chief Executive of the Michael Roberts Charitable Trust, who run those programs up there. I spend a lot of time making banners, as you can see, to make the Bounty Club look beautiful, but I think the main thing I want to do today is to introduce a few guests who've come to help us open the Bounty Club and say a little bit of a background of who we are, what we do as a charity, and why we're so thrilled to be doing this today. Come on through, Teresa. This is Teresa, our founder of this charity, ladies and gentlemen, who's had an accident. Normally she's running around, but as it is right now, she's there. The first thing to say is I'm going to hand over to two people, and possibly three, depending on Robert Half, our MP, who would like to be here, but he's got a double booking. He may appear here. If not, he'll appear after 11:30, because I'm going to invite us to stay here for about 20-25 minutes, and then we're going to go back to the church hall around the corner. Have you got your walking partner? Hold hands with them. We're going to go around to church hall. If you follow the line, we should get there fine. And we've got tea, coffee and cakes. Inevitably we have cakes. Also, you should have some poppers in your hand. The idea of the poppers is when Louise officially opens it, I'd like you to fire those poppers just so you remember this moment, deep in your cerebellum, that we've had that moment of celebration in opening the Bounty Club. But this day comes as an accumulation of many years of work. The years of work started about 8 years ago when our founder Gary Knott, Teresa's former husband, late husband, came up with the idea of collecting food that was going to go to waste and getting it to the people of Harlow. And that was 8 years ago, and this has been a journey from there to here, which has involved regular daily pickups by Trevor, who I think is outside in the van because he's just done a daily pickup. He's there. Trevor, can you give Trevor a round of applause? Because for most of those 8 years, Trevor has been getting in a van, a refrigerated van, picking up fresh food, bringing it back to either community groups or to this new venture where we've released the Bounty Club food to people who we know are short of money and short of food. If you haven't had the chance to snoop around, please snoop around afterwards, because today we've got to the point where we've opened it further thanks to the funding we've received from the Essex County Council. We've been able to make not just fresh food available daily, but also low-cost food available to people who are struggling at this time of hardship. I just want to give you a little reflection, one thing from my life. My dad would be 99 this year if he was still going. And I remember when my grandma was ill, he told me the story when he was young, which would be between the wars, of every occasional Sunday, or most Sundays, he was given a plate of food from his Sunday lunch, and he was asked to take that plate of food round to Mrs. Smith round the corner, and Mrs. Smith is sitting by herself, having made dinner for the rest of her family, but not having enough to feed herself. And my dad was given this plate of food and invited to take that to her. She's sitting in the back room of her house while her husband and children eat, because there wasn't enough for the whole family. And that was quite a long time ago now. Since then we started the welfare state. Things got better for the country in general. But as you can see, here we are today, in a position where neighbours need much more systematic help from neighbours. It's the same spirit, but we've kind of lost touch with each other, we've kind of become isolated, and since the time of austerity we've lost the opportunity maybe to keep up with the people whose standard of living has been dropping. So the Michael Roberts Charitable Trust have done what we can. We started a food bank, and then we started the Bounty Club. We've done what we can to reduce the impact of the cost of living on people in Harlow. We didn't really want to do it, if you understand what I'm saying here, we didn't want to do it in the sense that we didn't like the fact that it had come to this, that people were in such a position that they couldn't afford their daily lives. But at the same time, we wanted to do it because as Christians we don't want people to be left hungry, naked, suffering. So the initiative was to launch this and then to expand it as things got more difficult. So in the spirit of my dad and my grandma, long gone, I think that neighbourly approach, that care for our neighbour, has to keep going. It has to keep going in times of hardship, and it has to make sure that no one is overlooked. So we're grateful for the fact that people like the taxpayers of Essex have elected representatives who want to make sure that nobody's driving out, and this is one token of that that we've joined in with. So I want to hand you over to Andrew Forsey, who has also been part of the movement to start.
On the way out here, something completely different occurred to me. So this could either go brilliantly or horribly wrong. It occurred to me coming out here this morning that the last time I was out in Harlow was 3 years ago to get my first COVID jab down at the leisure centre. I remember being here at that time thinking this really symbolises our country's fight back against this wretched pandemic that had got a hold of us back in 2020 and 21. 3 years on, being here today at the formal launch of the expanded Bounty Club and Community Supermarket, I now have a not dissimilar feeling that Harlow once again is at the fight back against the poverty and the worst effects of that poverty that leads people to go without food and have to use crisis food parcels. By way of background, Essex is one of 95 parts of the UK that make up our Feeding Britain network, and every couple of weeks we bring together the network to learn about some particularly good ideas and projects that are helping people afford and access the food they need. And Andy and Patrick were kind enough to present at the most recent one of those webinars 2 weeks ago, and they made it very clear in their remarks that whatever indicator we use, whatever way we think about the country, Harlow tends to be at the cutting edge. It is right slap bang in the middle of what's going on elsewhere. And I both hope and think that that is true with this Bounty Club Community Supermarket model we've looked at today.
To be here, to be able to open the new community supermarket today, but just a few words first of all around what this is all about. I think it's around 18 months ago that Ben and I sat down and started talking about what we could do to support people who are currently experiencing difficulties, but also who are using the food banks. How do we move them on to be able to have more choice and to be able to control and decide what they want in their weekly shop? And so was born the conversation around community supermarkets. We launched our first one in Jaywick in January last year, and this is our 6th today, and the aim is that by the summer every borough, city and district within the county will have a community supermarket. They all look and feel very different. Some are mobile, some are in town centres, some are obviously having to service more rural areas. And it's really about how we can work with the local community, the local charities, and understanding not just what the need is, but what's already in place. So how can we make sure that we are not just starting from scratch, but supporting what's already there? And obviously with the fantastic work that's gone on, this is a natural place to have that conversation. So thank you. I won't hold you up any longer because I'm sure we're dying to get around the other side of this screen and have a look. So as I've been asked to do, if you can get ready, I now declare that the Bounty Club Community Supermarket in Harlow is open.